What's up, everyone? Welcome to the JC podcast, episode number 4. With me, I got here George. George, how's it going, man?
Hey man, going well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Um. So, how are you liking the football season this year?
Um, I like it. I mean, I love football when it's the season. Like regular season. I'm a Packers fan, so I'm not too excited for them this year, just because we lost. Our quarterback Aaron Rodgers went to the Jets.
Yeah.
And he's always been my quarterback since I been a fan. So
Right.
seeing him on another team is it's a little tough, but you know what? I know why he left, and I respect that. He gave us a championship, so I can't ask for anything else. And he's very good. So unfortunately, he did suffer an end season injury. So I mean, even though he is in a new team, I do feel pretty bad, and it hurts when he's hurt. So yeah. So well, that's how I feel about it. But other than that, I do enjoy watching other teams because I'm in fantasy as well. So it's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many leagues are you in?
I'm in 5 this year.
5?
That's actually a lot. That's more than I done any year ever since I started fantasy football.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only reason why I'm in 5 is because I was asked to join some of the leagues, which I think is necessary to join. For example, the work league. You and I, we work at Calitima, so
Yeah.
they finally invited me to join. I guess no one really knew I do fantasy or anything. Were you in the league last year or any years before that?
So I'm in the same league as well.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
in the past I've only been in 3 leagues. And I thought that was too much. This league, I did join it because they asked me to do it. It was people from work, they wanted to get together and make a league, and I was like, personally, I was like, well, I don't know, dude, because 3 leagues is enough for me. And at the end, I was like, all right, you know what, let's do it. Um, but one thing, when you mentioned Aaron Rodgers, is I picked them up in 3 of my leagues, and
dang.
in the other league, I picked up as well Garrett Wilson,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I mean, he's a good receiver, but I mean, he could have done so much more if he would have had Rodgers,
Yeah,
if he didn't get
you need
hurt,
that combination. Yeah.
right? Yeah, because I mean, what he's doing right now with Zach Wilson, I mean, it's pretty impressive. And I think he's only going to get better. But then again, Zach Wilson's, he's not the best
Right.
quarterback, and
Um,
I'm pretty sure the Jets are ready to move away from that guy.
Yeah, not only that you need skills from your quarterback to the wide receiver, but you also need that chemistry too.
Yeah,
So yeah, fortunately, Zach Wilson, Garrett Wilson, I don't think they have. I mean, I'm sure they have a little bit of both there,
yeah,
but it's not to that level of to be unstoppable, right? Like you have the Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey combo.
right.
That's the unstoppable
Exactly.
duel, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, so I know what you mean.
yeah,
I wasn't sure if Aaron Rodgers and Gary Wilson would be that duel, but we don't know because it happened literally within the first drive. So the injury, so we never get to see it.
yeah.
But of course, Aaron Rodgers, he's good. So
Right. Yeah,
even though he's a little older now, he was my quarterback for more than 10 years. So but I know how good he is, and I know like it does slow him down a little bit, but the quarterback position, that's probably the only position I can think of that people stay the longest. I mean, Tom Brady has been there how many years? 20 years almost, So yeah, I mean, for these guys like our running backs and like wide receivers, they can only do it for, a decade at most, So
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the other player I picked up as well was Dalvin Cook, and
uh,
I mean, I've got him in the past when he was in Minnesota.
mhm.
He did pretty good for me, but I mean, I should have known. I mean, because I've picked up also Le'Veon Bell when he was in the Jets, and yeah, it just, you don't see a lot of production,
Yeah.
and it's probably because they're a offensive line, right? It's not enough
Yeah.
protection.
I mean, it's a combo of everything. right?
Yeah.
It's your offensive lineman we're talking about running backs in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, your offensive lineman, but also, through time you're just gonna slow down, you know.
Yeah.
So, dude, Dalvin Cook was unstoppable for many years, Um, and the thing about this, I noticed the football nowadays is every team is trying to do this sharing the running back positions. So they have two running backs that are like, backing up one another because there's just so many running backs that gets hurt. So it's just so much.
Just to try to keep them healthier, or
Yeah, yeah. You
try to
can,
avoid
yeah,
injury.
yeah, of course, because
Yeah.
getting a tackle is like getting hit by a car, dude. So,
That's what I think about Christian McCaffrey.
mhm,
Um, a player like that where they constantly, give him the ball, and sometimes I feel like, man, these guys are really good, but eventually, you ride them too hard that they're gonna get hurt. And I remember Cooper Cup. He's not a running back; he's a wide receiver. But last year, he was being utilized so much that he was getting double teamed, and it's like eventually, he, he's gonna get hurt. I mean,
mhm.
it's just like out of receiving the ball in so many plays. I mean, it's gonna happen because especially a lot of players are already targeting that one player that they know is usually gonna get the ball.
Yeah.
Um, and I also, think about that because I have in one of my lineups, I have
Mhm.
Aaron Jones and Eckler.
All right.
If week one, dude, they gave me over 30 points. They blew up. And after that, they got hurt. And they haven't Aaron Jones just came back, was a disappointment, only gave me 1 point.
Mhm. This is last week,
Yeah.
week 4, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Huge
I haven't won in my
disappointment.
league, so
Yeah. So I was all pumped up. I'm like, and also I got Kamara, so Kamara's back.
Yeah.
He did well for me, but
Mhm.
I was pumped up. I'm like, all right, in this league, I got Aaron Jones and I got Kamara.
Mhm.
I should be good. And yeah, Aaron Jones, it was a bust. It was only 1 point, which I mean, I didn't think it was gonna be that low, because sometimes some of these players, they have their ups and downs. Even though
Mhm.
like some of them can be consistent,
Right.
they most likely will hit at least maybe 1 or 2 games where they're just not producing.
Yeah.
And it could be just that team that has the right defense, or they've been studying the running back or wide receiver and figure out how to stop them.
Right. I mean, we could talk about week 4. Like Aaron Jones is part of the Packers. The Packers played against our division rivalry, the Lions.
Yeah.
The Lions have gone a lot better on both offense and defense.
Yeah.
Where they can stop the run. So, of course, especially when Aaron Jones just came back from a foot injury or ankle injury.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how bad it was. Where is it the right time for him to come back? But if he's clear for protocol to play, then he's clear.
Yeah.
So, but it does take it does affect the play a little bit because if he did came back from injury, you're playing with a team that has gotten so much better on defense. So and I think that's the reason why. And of course, the Packers are sharing carries too. So they have AJ Dillon as the other guy. He hasn't done crap this year either, but
Yeah.
but he's younger. But Aaron Jones over AJ Dillon. Aaron Jones is the number one, obviously. Of course, the age, the injuries, it all affects the game, especially against the Lions defense team. They have this guy Hutchinson. He's like freaking great, So it pisses me off because I'm talking about the Lions. I hate the Lions. Anyone from a division, I just freaking hate it.
So they're in the same division?
Yeah, they're the same division.
Oh,
So
I see.
yeah, the
Okay.
Packers are playing. The division in the Packers is the Lions, the Bears,
Okay.
and the Vikings. Yeah, surprisingly, the Packers
Oh.
doing not that bad. They're 2-2 right now, but I think in the long run, I think the Lions are probably going to take the division victory. To be honest,
Yeah.
they're just so much better. Jared Goff, I don't think he's a bad quarterback.
Yeah.
He could be a lot better because he has all these weapons. And I hope he can utilize it and just play well.
I feel that Jared Goff is he's performing better in Detroit, um, because I don't think he's under that pressure he was with the Rams.
Yeah.
Because when he got traded, it almost seemed like the Rams were ready. Well, a lot of the players in the team they're ready for a Super Bowl. I mean,
Hmm.
and I mean towards the end, I'm assuming they assumed that Jared Goff wasn't the quarterback to get the job done,
Right.
and I mean they pick up Von Miller as well for that when they won the Super Bowl. I think they picked
Mm,
up Von Miller, and then
I don't remember, but yeah,
yeah, and then
that was a really boring Super Bowl. So
yeah,
it was a blur for
it
me.
almost seemed like at that year the Rams were just trying to pick up everybody and just
That was a good. The Rams were very good that year. They had Todd Gurley, came from Georgia.
yeah,
He had an injury too, but for a guy that had that injury, came back and just was a tank running. I seen it in person because that was the first game I ever witnessed, a real NFL game. It was
Yeah.
the Packers versus the Rams,
uh huh,
and I was just watching Todd Gurley. Like, this guy is not even human. He runs like a robot. Like, this guy is not human.
yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
dude.
so that was amazing watching Todd Gurley. So that was the year the Rams were just
and that
unstoppable.
yeah, and that's where they're struggling right now is their running game, dude.
Mhm.
I mean that guy Cam Akers, he got traded, just
Yeah.
didn't work out.
Yeah.
And I mean right now, the way I feel about the Rams is like I don't really know the receivers or
Yeah.
anybody.
Are you a
really.
Rams fan?
Um,
I think I saw some of your Rams gear, but that's because
yeah.
I was
So
in LA.
I do. Yeah, I like the Rams. I was actually following also uh Jared Goff. So I
Oh,
do
okay.
like watching Detroit, even though
Mhm.
you don't like Detroit. I don't know. I don't think that guy's a bad quarterback, and I like seeing a lot of these teams. That for so long they sucked,
Mhm.
and now they seem like uh they have the potential to make it to the playoffs and maybe pass the first round.
Yeah.
Um, which is exciting. I mean, even the Bears too. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm not a fan of the Bears at all, but I saw that Broncos versus the Bears, and apparently Justin Fields, that was his all time,
Best record.
best
Mhm.
record, and Denver just came out of getting a beat down the last
Mhm.
week, and then this week, it was almost the same thing, and then towards the end, dude, everything just turned around. It was almost watching like the old Russell, where he's
Mhm.
actually like throwing long bombs and then completing it. But overall, it was a crazy game,
Right.
and I mean, I don't remember the last time the Bears were actually like good.
Yeah, they said the last time the Bears ever won a regular season game was October 2022.
Okay,
So it's been a year
yeah,
since they won a game.
okay,
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the players or the coaches, the organization, or just luck. I don't know, but
yeah,
I don't think the Bears are that bad, really.
uh huh,
I think the worst team in the NFL right now, personally, I I would say, like, honestly, I was about to say the Colts, but I think Anthony Richardson really turned it around because they were pretty bad with Matt Ryan, and that's what I'm afraid of. Like, I'm afraid Jared Goff might be Matt Ryan. You have the taste of being in the Super Bowl, and you just not able to get a championship,
yeah,
you know, and that's what I don't want for Jared Goff. Just because I like him as a person.
yeah,
I think he's a pretty cool, chill guy.
yeah,
By the way, he looks like Ryan Gosling in my opinion. A lot of the NFL players look a lot like movie stars for some reason. I don't know, if it's me or whatever.
yeah,
Like, yeah, he looks like Ryan Gosling when he put on the helmet. It's like,
Oh.
hey, is Ryan Gosling playing for the
yeah,
Lions? But
right,
yeah, so yeah, maybe the Bear is the worst team, but I don't know because I put a lot of praise on Justin Fields.
yeah,
Um, I think he's a really good quarterback. He came from a good school, and a lot of quarterback now, in order to be really good, you got to be able to run.
Yeah,
He's
it
a runner.
seems like that's kind of like the new style now for
Yeah, it
quarterbacks.
is. A lot of people are. Yeah, back then, a lot of quarterbacks they like to throw in the pocket. Like they just throw. They don't
Yeah,
run or anything. But I think the 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 recipe of success for a football game is you have to have a lot of things. If you have a quarterback that can run, that's an advantage. If you have a wide receiver that can do rushing like Debo Samuels,
yeah,
that's great. If you even have a running back that can catch, that's good too. So there's a lot of different skills and element to win a game, and that's just how it is. That's the thing about the football that I love so much is like you really need a team to win. I feel like for the NBA, a one guy can really win the whole game by himself, right? Like when Kobe Bryant got like 81 points,
right.
that's possible for one guy, but you can't do it for football. There's no way. You know,
Y-
you
y-
need a team. You need a team
right.
that has chemistry. You need all this stuff in order to win a game, and I think that's what I like about it. That's how I am. I always like to be part of, uh, in a team or anything. By the way, I play sports, and I play flag football. So
Okay.
I'm not good. I'm the blocker, and I like catching the ball, but to be honest, I'm not like the best at it. I'm more better at blocking. I wish I
Hmm.
was faster, but with my size, I think I was really good, and that's what makes it fun. As long as I can do my job for my team, that's fun for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like when freaking last Sunday's game was the Chiefs versus the Jets,
Hmm.
dude. Ch- the last drive with the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, he could have easily run in for a touchdown, but he slid right after the first down, the first down mark.
Yeah.
Because like I don't care about the touchdown or I don't care about the stats, whatever it is. As long as my team wins, that's all it is. Because once he slid, that was it. The Jets had no more timeouts, and they just have to knee the ball and the game's over.
Yeah.
Screw a lot of people that bets the points though. If you know the spread, I think
Yeah.
the spread was like -8. They were up by
Oh
3.
wow.
Yeah, so you went for that touchdown.
Yeah.
Without even the PAT, they would have been up by 9. So whoever bet the Chiefs to cover the spread -8 would have won. But because what Patrick Mahomes did, Vegas was able to save a lot of money, and a lot of people
Wow.
yeah,
That's
they were
crazy.
so effed. Dude.
Isn't it crazy how that works? How the
It
house
is,
wins?
yeah,
Like house always wins.
dude. I don't know who makes up these numbers, man. Like how the spread and like everything. Like these guys know exactly, like to the dot. They know exactly where it is.
Yeah.
Like they probably know what these guys eat and what these guys did in the morning of the night before. Like like Patrick Mahomes went to a party, so he's probably gonna be really slow. So he's not gonna be his best game. So we're gonna add a little less of a spread. And then people's gonna bite it because they think the Chiefs gonna like destroy this team.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be a blowout.
Yeah.
I thought -8 was sweet, right? I think they're gonna get like freaking like 35, and the Jets probably only get like a 3 or a 7,
Yeah.
like that. But no, man, it was very tight. And you know what? That's what I like about football. It's like a good game, right? I don't like blowout games. It's just so boring. When it's so close, it's more fun to watch. So yeah, it sucks for the people that bet still.
Yeah.
I don't have any advice on betting because I do bets. I do bet sports once in a while, but only when I watch the game. I don't bet when just because I'm trying to make money.
Right.
That's just not how I'm back then maybe, but now I'm like, nah. If I watch the game, I'll put some money just because,
Yeah.
it's it's more
Okay.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Go
All right.
ahead.
So one of my strategies that I like to do for fantasy is I like to have a quarterback and a wide receiver from the same team. So for example, my keepers league, I have Jared Goff and I have Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I like that combo because, once the quarterback throws it to his wide receiver, you get those yards. And if you get a touchdown, he'll get 4 points. Amon-Ra will get like 6 points. So I just like that combo because it's just there's still hope. If you're like losing and you're like hoping for that big bang of a big play, it's like the greatest feeling, because you got more points because you have these two guys, And that's why it's very important for the quarterback and their wide receiver to have that chemistry
Yeah.
because it's important. That's why like that league I was in, the Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey.
Uh-huh.
That's why I did what I did. I drafted that because the dynamic duel, right? So my keepers league, I had Jared Goff this year with Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra was my keeper, one of my keeper. I always liked him ever since he was from USC. I was pretty pissed that the Packers didn't pick him up because that was the year when he was a rookie. We needed a wide receiver. Like we had Devontae Adams still, but I feel like we're missing the second guy. Kind of like the AJ Brown with Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
You need two guys, you know?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, Packers. The second guy I can remember what we had was it was before Alan Lazard. I think we had Randall Cobb. You know, like I don't think that was enough. Like he was the perfect third string, but the perfect second string, that's what we were missing.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra St. Brown would have been perfect. You know, I've been following that kid for the longest time. And when not only that we didn't get him with the Packers, he went to a team that I freaking hate. I was like, come on, man. So I always liked the kid. So thank God someone didn't keep him when he was a rookie. I was able to draft him one of the years, and I kept him ever since. So yeah, if you want to know the 5 keepers I had for this year, it was so I want to start my running back. I have Travis Etienne, Najee Harris, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams, and Justin Jefferson. Yeah. So those are my 5 keepers. And you know, those 5 guys are, you know, the first and second round picks, you know.
Yeah.
Najee is kind of like going down south right now, but he's still young and he's somewhat healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So you never know. That you know, James Conner was a bust once, and then when he went to Arizona, he's awesome. Anyone who has James Conner right now is doing very well. So, and I hope Najee, you know, I don't know if it's the Steelers O-line that's not helping him to get these yards and touchdowns, but you know, I think he's still a good running back. I mean, he came from Alabama. I mean, anyone from Alabama is gonna do great, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you might have a bust year, but somewhere down the line, you're gonna have a good year. So, no matter what, I think Najee is gonna be fine. But this is the year that I'm trying to win. I want to do what I can to. I made some trades this year. I drafted Laporta from Detroit.
Okay.
He's the rookie of tight end, and he did pretty well for the first 2-3 weeks, and then his 4th week. Oh man! Oh, I'm sorry. He did well the 3rd week. 4th week was okay, but the 3rd week got a touchdown. First touchdown, I think total he got like 18 fantasy points. If you're in a half PPR league, if you're in the full PPR, the one that we're in,
yeah,
I think he got like 25 or almost 30. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, he had like 7 targets. Yeah, that guy's good. He's from Iowa.
Yeah.
And Iowa has a reputation of good tight ends. So yeah, I always liked him, but I had to make a trade for him because I was running low on running backs. So one of the things that I did bad on the keepers league draft was I went 2 wide receiver heavy. And tight end heavy. I didn't do much running back. And the reason why I didn't do running back was because there wasn't really much running back available because a lot of people kept their running backs in the keepers league.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a lot right now, right? You have second strings here and there like AJ Dillon, but you don't have your number one. Most of the number ones
I feel like the running backs are the most valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, right now there's I mean, I don't know. There's more running backs, but I mean, there's some seasons where there's only a handful, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, sometimes I guess it could depend on the team too, as well.
Mm-hmm.
That why the running backs, some of them, perform a lot better than others.
Mm-hmm. It's all about opportunities.
Yeah.
That's why the thing about Keepers League is it's important to keep an eye out on these rookies, right? Because they haven't had the opportunity to showcase what they can do other than college. But when you join the NFL, something happens, like I'm just trying to think like who didn't do that well in college, but they did very well now, right? Like I think Nick Chubb was one of them. I think he did okay, but when he became the second string for the Browns, he was just okay until I forgot who he replaced. Um, that person got hurt, and then he became the the runner up, and he just blew up. Yeah, I'm trying to remember who it was. I can't think right now. But yeah, but he had an opportunity, and he's able to showcase what he can do.
Mhm.
And then now he's the number one guy. Sadly, this is the year he ended his season because he got a a broken like knee or something like that.
Yeah,
It was pretty gruesome. I'm not sure you saw it.
I didn't see it, but I do have him in 3 leagues, and I actually I'm
Mhm.
struggling a little bit right now
Right.
with the a running back situation. But I mean, in some leagues, it's either Aaron Jones or Eckler that are
Mhm.
hurt, and as soon as they come back, that should be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one player though that I haven't seen too much is Joe Burrow. Picked
Um.
him up as my quarterback.
Mhm.
Um, and in my other league, I was able to pick up Josh Allen, which I was trying to pick up Josh Allen in the league where I picked up Joe Burrow, but somebody beat me to it.
Mm.
And Josh Allen, man, that guy's. I feel like Buffalo's gonna head to the Super Bowl. I mean, they're looking unstoppable, dude. Their
Mhm.
defense, their offense, they're freaking. I mean, Miami's a good team as well, but when they played Buffalo, I mean, Buffalo just gave them like a reality check. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, the Buffalo has everything that they have everything that they can to have to win. You know. Um. I mean, Miami does too. They have offense, defense, everything. You know, but it takes more than just the weapons you have. It's the chemistry, it's the how you wake up, feeling
yeah.
no injuries. Like Joe Burrow is a great quarterback. I mean, he's a Heisman Trophy winner. Like
Hmm.
he's great. But ever since his little problem with his calf, it's something different. It affects his mind, and that can happen. So yeah, I mean, I pray for Joe Burrow to be healthier because I actually wanted him on most of my leagues actually, but people draft quarterbacks so early. I mean, the league that we're in with work, there's this girl that drafted 5 quarterbacks. I think the
That
really reason why
screwed me over,
that
dude.
screwed me over too, dude, because I was just going for wide receivers,
Dude,
running backs. Quarterback. They're all going to be pretty good, so we're just gonna wait. But freaking this lady just picked 5 quarterbacks because that's all she knows.
that
This is her first
messed
time
me
playing
up. So
fantasy, so
yeah, so
I totally get that why. And that's the thing. So right now I'm starting Russell Wilson right on the Cal Ultimate League,
yeah.
and surprisingly he's doing pretty good.
Yeah, I think in one of my leagues, he got like around 28 points or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but the thing is I'm not sure if I really trust Russell still, just because of they're missing something in the O line that they have good weapons, man. They have Courtland Sutton, they have Jerry Judy. I'm not
Yeah.
sure why Jerry Judy's not getting the numbers he's been getting.
He should be getting more numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the keepers league, he was my number one draft pick. So I had a lot of hope
Oh,
because
wow.
I gave Wilson for a whole year to really understand the Denver team because this is his first time, the
Yeah.
first year. So I'm not picking him at all or anyone from the Denver Broncos.
Mhm.
And this year, this is his second year, and you got Sean Payton as
Mhm.
your coach.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a great year for Denver. But
They got their old kicker too
y-
from New Orleans.
yeah, Will
McManus.
Lutz. Will Lutz.
Oh, Lutz,
Yeah.
not McManus.
Yeah.
Lutz, yeah.
See, like,
That was
It-
when I heard that, I was like, "What?"
yeah.
They
So I'm
got-
like, the Broncos, they're gonna go far. They're gonna do well. Nope.
yeah,
They almost lost to the Bears. They lost very embarrassingly to the Miami Dolphins. It's like, oh my god.
The Dolphins actually were really close to breaking the record in, I think,
Most
for
points?
Most points,
Oh
yeah.
shit.
And they decided not to do it.
Oh.
Instead, the guy almost like the KC game where the guy just slid, called it a game.
Yeah,
Um,
Patrick Mahomes.
yeah,
Yeah,
so they could have easily done a field goal
yeah.
and beat the record,
Right,
or
right.
tied it. No, it would be beating it. Yeah. Um.
I think it's just more than just making history. They just want to, you know, as a
Yeah.
team
It
effort, they just want to
was.
win.
I mean, it was crazy, dude, because they even put their backups and they were making plays, and it was like,
Yeah,
what the fuck? Their freaking backup quarterback. I don't know how many yards he threw. Freaking a long pass, touchdown.
yeah, yeah,
It's like, yeah, it got pretty ridiculous.
yeah, man. But yeah, I try to make a trade with the girl. I don't want to say her name, but I wanted Anthony Richardson. For she looked like she needed wide receivers. I have plenty of wide receivers, so I was just saying, who am I willing to give up? Right,
Yeah.
that is healthy and can be very explosive at the same time, to make it a fair trade. Because Anthony Richardson, he's a rookie, so but a good rookie, right? He proved himself to be very worthy the first second week. So the week that I traded for Anthony Richardson was because he was hurt. He was injured. It was the second week, I think,
Yeah.
that he didn't play. So this girl has like 5 quarterbacks, so she can use any of them, and they're all good too. So I was like, I'll take Anthony Richardson off your hands. He's hurt right now. And you have plenty of quarterback. You probably need a wide receiver. So I was thinking about trading Michael Thomas away for Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
Hopefully she bites. But the thing is, I don't think this girl's even like paying attention to the league. I don't know. I think she's still playing her players in, which that's important to have a commissioner, because you got to make sure no one's like dropping the ball.
Yeah.
Because I have played in a fantasy where people do drop the ball, where they put in players that are injured, or they're questionable, but then it's obvious they're not going to play, when you still have this player on your bench that will play, that will still give you points.
Mhm.
That's the thing about fantasy. Like, yeah, you either like it or you hate it. You like it, you should play it. You should really commit, right? So for her, I think because she's interested in football,
Yeah.
and then she's doing it for the first time, which is fine. But at least respond to the trades.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just part of the program, right? So, but I don't think she pays attention. Either that, at least decline it if you don't like it.
Yeah.
But that's how I see it.
Yeah, and in my big league, which is only 150, the 11th and 12th place have to pay $50 at the end. So the commissioner did that. So
Like the end of the league, or like the end of the.
So if you end up
okay.
at 11 or 12, you have to pay an extra $50.
Ooh.
So he did.
Does
that.
it go to the winners, like the first place?
It goes to the winners.
Oh, so it's actually that's kind of cool.
So first place, I think $1,000. Second, I want to say is like 500.
Yeah.
And then the third place is your money back plus $100. So I think 250, something like that. But that's just so whoever's in last place, or whoever can end up in 11th or 12th, is now fighting to not pay those $50.
Yeah.
So it's still kind of like you're still in it, but at least not to be
to pay that.
Instead of being negative 150, I mean, instead of being negative 200, negative 150.
It's crazy. That's actually a pretty good punishment. Because in our keepers league, we're having a hard time figuring out what the punishment is. We had a structure on who gets to do the punishment. I mean, it's going to be the last place, but who gets to define what the punishment is.
Okay.
Originally, we made it where the winner does it, but this league's been going on for like 6-7 years. So I think we kind of dropped the ball on what the punishment is, because usually we want to keep everyone playing every year, right? But things happens where people can't play because of commitment, or maybe they felt no longer in love with fantasy.
Yeah.
Which happens. But the thing about the Keepers League is it's a lot more, I guess a little bit more serious, just because it's a Keepers League.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like you have a bunch of dogs, but you lost your owner, It's like, what are you going to do? What's going to happen, right? Where if you do a redraft, it's okay, because you can always find a new player, then just add in, and we'll start the draft, right?
It's like you're starting all over.
Yeah.
So a fresh new start.
So the Keepers League that I'm in, we've been losing at least one player every year, um, because of whatever reason. The last one, I think the guy left because there's a couple reasons. So let me tell you about my league, the Keepers League. We like to do live drafts. We don't do the whole, going on the computer and just draft online. We did that once because of COVID, because we can't really see each other.
Yeah.
But the thing about this league that we're in, we try to pick a destination that we've never been before to do the live draft. For example, we've been on a cruise once, so we drafted on the cruise, and that was our kind of like our little mini vacation. And it's only guys only because it's kind of like we want to leave the wives and girlfriends at home, and it's just the boys to do like a boy trip. And then
Right.
not only that you create memories but you also do the whole fantasy thing with the boys. So I think lately, ever since I feel like it's even before COVID, but like it's just been dying, kind of like it's just someone just leaves because of they either lose the love for the game, like I said, or personal reasons. Maybe they have family where they have to pay attention to, because fantasy is a lot of commitment.
It
you
is,
know?
yeah.
It's a lot. So I totally understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just sucks because our Keepers League, every year there's always one person that's gone. So we're hoping the year coming up, I hope no one leaves, and hopefully we can find that same structure where we have the punishment and everything just falls in line.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. The person that usually leaves is the last person that's last place, which is like the weirdest thing. Yeah. So the guy that left last year, he was like literally last place.
So
And-
they're like, no, screw this.
Yeah, and the winner is supposed to think of a punishment, but the guy doesn't want to do it. I think the punishment was to have a fake like handy tramp stamp, and you take a photo of it.
Okay.
That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
But the guy wouldn't even want to do it because he's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the reason why. He's a Cleveland Browns fan,
Uh-huh.
and the Cleveland Browns has been trash, for the longest time.
Yeah.
We had hopes that they did well with Baker Mayfield when he joined, and then they had OLJ. I'm sorry, not OJ. What's his name? Beckham Jr. Yeah, OBJ.
Yeah, OBJ.
Yeah, OBJ. Then you had Jarvis Landry. You have Nick Chubbs. You have all these weapons. You know,
Uh-huh.
the defense was okay. I think. That was when the Browns were pretty decent.
Yeah.
But then they just start tanking ever since then. And I think he just like the Browns still suck. They even got worse. I'm done with football. He was usually there mainly because the festivities, like the live drafts, going to different states or location to do the draft.
Yeah.
I think that's what he likes the most about it. The football is just a plus for him because he's not too crazy of a fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I would probably feel the same if I was a Browns fan, with all those hardships of like just being a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I totally get it. But the main is because of the the festivities, the boys and just hanging out and stuff. So I think he just lost the love of football, and we haven't really gone anywhere great. So if if your heart's not in it, then it is what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we do for our Keepers League.
So, would you say it's more difficult when you do the draft live versus online? Or is it
Totally.
similar.
Totally. I mean, it's hard because, like, I'll tell you my strategy. Like, when I do a draft, like, let's say our Cosmo League, for example, we did online, right?
Yeah.
I used like 3 screens. One would be one for the draft, like to draft the players. One would be my research, like looking up, like, oh, should this be a good pick right here? And one would be like, I have this program, not program, but it's I guess it's a program. It's an app, where you can do a bunch of mock drafts, and you can actually select what position you're at, and you just do it all. Like the robot just does the draft by itself, and then you draft when you're on that. Like for the Cosmo League, I was number 1. I don't know how I got number 1, which is crazy because you already know who I picked up the first round, right? And we all know it's Justin Jefferson. I have him in my Dynasty Keepers League.
Yeah.
I want to pick him up for the Ultimate League, So So what I did is I have that program running where I am number one. So I would, we have a few minutes before we start. So I would pick Justin Jefferson, and then it goes the snake, because it's a snake type of draft.
Yeah.
And then I just keep drafting how I would draft normally if I do it for Kaltzma. So it doesn't fall in line perfectly because obviously we have people that would draft the weirdest players first round. Like I think the girl, she probably drafted quarterback first, and it was like Joe Burrow,
Yeah.
something like that. I kind of don't remember, but but because the program would draft how you should draft, like normally you should pick these players first over the other players,
Yeah.
but it's not always like that. But it's good to have that, so I cross it out once they're gone, and I'm like, okay, where is this and that? I mean, that's how I do it. It's just my strategy, where the live draft, it's tough because you don't have, I mean, you can bring your laptops and all that to do all that stuff, but you don't even, honestly, we don't even have a thing to look at, like which player is still available sometimes.
Yeah.
But luckily, we have a friend that's willing to share that, where he actually set it up himself through the Sleeper app, and then you kind of see who's available still. But it was still pretty tough,
Okay.
especially live drive. You want to be glued to your computer or whatever it is. You want to like hold a drink, like who should I get this year? Oh shoot, Laporta's still available. He's pretty good. I'll take him.
Yeah.
And then you just put the sticker on the little live board. So it is a little different.
Okay.
It is a little different. I'm not gonna lie. When I did the draft this year, it was pretty tough, and I made a lot of mistakes. Like, remember I told you that there's barely any running backs still available?
Yeah.
There was actually quite a few.
Okay.
Like DeAndre Swift was available where I was drafted. I should have picked him up because I do need a running back because all I have was Harris and Etienne. The next thing, because I have 3 wide receivers, so the next thing I should do is pick up a running back. The reason why I didn't pick up DeAndre Swift, for example, is because it's a new team, and we saw how Miles Sanders did last year when he was with the Philadelphia, right?
Yeah.
Barely utilized them because we had Jalen Hurts. He's technically the number 1 running back because he runs all the time. So
Yeah.
Miles Sanders is technically the number 2, But then I totally did not. I passed this thought. Miles Sanders is different than DeAndre Swift. He was explosive when he was with the Lions. They're both different running backs. So this year I realized, like, damn, DeAndre Swift is really good. They actually utilize him, So that was a mistake. Instead, I picked up Jerry Jeudy as the first pick. And why would I pick another wide receiver when I have 3 wide receivers that are stacked already? What am I gonna do with Jerry Jeudy? Just bench him out the whole season,
Yeah.
So that was my mistake. And I picked up Goddard, my second pick. So my 5 keepers, I picked up Jerry Jeudy and they got Goddard. Like, most of the time they use Goddard to block for Jalen to either rush or to throw.
Yeah.
So they're barely going to use him for any touches, And it's not like the Philadelphia have a really bad O-line where he needs to leak out to catch the ball, right?
Yeah.
So that was another mistake. You don't know, you don't realize what you do until once you see the whole board, like, yeah, I should have done that. I should have done this. I should have done that. So yeah, I think the live draft, I usually have some type of regrets more than, the regular draft.
Yeah. But I think sometimes though, like, what is the number 1 or the top 5, even the top 10 players. Sometimes there's always those 1 players that, they could be in the, bottom 15 or whatever, and they end up, being one of the best.
Yeah.
And, and sometimes, the number 1's always, they're consistent.
Right.
Or they eventually fall off. But that's why, like, you never know. Like, sometimes your best player, you pick him up like round 5 or something.
Right.
And you didn't, you picked him up because he was available, but you never would have thought that this is going to be his year, and sometimes it does pan out that way.
This might be a little early to say, but like a good example would be Puka Nacua, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No one picked, like, all the leagues I'm in, he was still sitting in the to add a drop. Like, no one has him.
Wow, dude. Yeah, we're on my leagues. People.
Yeah,
pick him up right away.
when we did the draft was before the season started. Cooper Cup was still healthy, right?
Yeah.
Until the news came out maybe a week before or maybe a couple of days. I don't remember. But even that, people would think Atwell would be the next person, right?
Yeah.
To be the next Cooper Cup almost, right? Or maybe Van Jefferson. He wasn't a bad wide receiver. I mean, he won a Super Bowl, right?
Right.
So Puka Nacua was like way down the list, right? Until we saw what he did the first week, second week, third week, fourth week. Like, yeah, those are the players, man. And and in the Ultimate League, I did what I did. I'm not sure you saw me, but
Yeah.
this is my first time doing the whole bidding your waiver wire.
Uh-huh.
I never done that for fantasy before. Surprisingly, I don't know how it works.
I'm still trying to figure that out.
Oh, you do?
I did notice it. The whole bidding thing.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
basically have like a dollar amount, and if
Yeah,
you use it all, that's it.
Yeah.
You know.
I
So if you
noticed
bid
that.
more than the other person, you just get the player. So I didn't get it either. But when I saw Nakua what he did, I was like, I want this guy. So I freaking went 100, which is the max amount.
Yeah.
And I kind of read it wrong, by the way. When I asked that question to the commissioner, he was away because he went to Italy. I asked, I guess, the co-commissioner or just the people in the league,
Yeah.
and I read it wrong. When I reread it, I was like, shit, I totally misread that. I thought you get 100 like points or money amount every week. So it just adds every week.
Yeah.
It's like, why not use the whole thing for the guy then? It doesn't make sense. No, it's actually 100 for the whole season.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's how it works.
So
I did notice the 100.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I use all that for Puka Nakua. But to be honest with you, it was worth it.
And you got Jefferson too, right?
Yeah. So Jefferson Nakua, I have the two guys. Yeah. So the Ultimate League, I am 4-0 right now.
Nice.
So yeah, for all those Ultimate players that's in our league, yeah, you all suck it. I want to win this year. Yeah, you too.
Yeah, we'll see, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, injury happens. You never know. So yeah, and you, the girl that I'm trying to get Anthony Richardson, make the trade. I need a better quarterback. But by the way, I also have the first number 1 waiver wire in the Keepers League, so I picked them up too. I got Puka Nacua, which, see, that's the thing. I am running back low. Like I need running backs.
Yeah.
So I either had Puka Nacua or Kyren Williams, right? Those two guys, they were like, the number 2 that you should pick up, right? Because Cam Akers, they were done with him.
Yeah.
So Kyren Williams was the next person, and then Puka Nacua. I was really thinking about picking up Kyren Williams, but when I saw how Puka Nacua does so well, I feel like I'm wasting my waiver wire, because Kyren Williams could be a fluke. Because at that time we didn't know if Cam Akers it's just a fluke that he's not playing, or he's still going to be in the team or anything, So they're probably going to share carries. I'm very greedy, so I went for the guy that's going to give me like a lot of fantasy every week points,
Yeah.
So I went with screw it. I'll pick up Puka. If anything, I can always trade him, right? I can always trade him for another running back.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes more valuable, and you can, if you need a running back.
Yeah. So right now in the Keepers League, I'm just gonna tell the people that's in my league right now. Yeah, I am having a hard time who to start for my wide receivers because I only have 3 slots. You have the 2 wide receiver slot and you have the flex slot.
Yeah.
And my 3 guys are always usually the top 3 that I have for my keeper: Devontae Adams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Justin Jefferson. How can you not start those guys? So the only times that I will not have the conflict of knowing who to start is one of them gets injured. But that's, as a keepers league, you don't want that to happen. I mean, for any league, you don't want that to happen, right?
Yeah.
So it's okay. I'll just keep Puka in my bench. If I want to start him, I feel like it's a good week, then I'll start him. If not, no one can touch him. No one can have him. So I'll just keep him. And you know what? He might be, the thing about the keepers league, if he does so well like this every week, he's potentially could be my next keeper. I could drop like any players that are not doing too well, like Najee Harris, for example, or I can trade him for a pick, because the thing about our keepers league is you don't just trade players, you can trade picks too. So
I see.
Yeah. So for example, let's say I trade Puka Nacua away this year for someone to have him this year, and I can make a deal where next year I will have your first round pick after the keepers. So I will have 2 picks for the first round, and that will help next year where I'm able to have like a stronger, pickup.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could do that. The thing about my keepers league, we don't follow the whole dynasty rule because the full dynasty rule is you need to keep everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think you're supposed to gamble or not gamble, but like trade picks or even gamble for picks. Like I'll give you an example for our league. My friend did not remember a picture that I showed him. It was his like I forgot what birthday. It was his birthday, but it was like I told him this is a 2016 picture. This is the 2016 birthday. It's like, no, it's not. This is way later or something. It's like, no, this is 2016. I know because after this birthday, I went out with a girl the day after in San Diego. And I remember because, she eventually became my girlfriend for only a couple months.
Yeah.
And I remember the year, I can never forget the year. So, but my friend was just arguing like, no, I know my birthday. And it's like, no, all right, let's bet on a pick then. So we bet like a 5th round pick for the next year. And then we found sources that it's true that I was right. So I got his pick for the following.
So he loses his pick on the 5th. Wow, that's pretty cool actually.
Yeah.
Damn, but okay, I guess it can be worth it if the player is that valuable, right? And you get to keep the player because you're saying that you're able to keep up to 5 players, right?
Yeah, you can move on to the next season.
Okay,
but you get to keep you all the picks that you have.
Yeah,
or you lose, you bring it on to the next year, and then we draft.
So how long have you been in this league before?
I joined this league 2018, I believe. So 6 years now, 5 years.
Would you say that you're the 5 players that are your keepers? Does it look completely different from the beginning, or?
Oh, very.
Okay, is there one player that you would say that you've had from the very beginning?
From the very beginning of when I joined the league?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like it's I believe we were talking about it. You gotta be making moves in order, to win.
Yeah, you gotta make moves in order to if you want to win, because you're gonna keep the same players.
Yeah, I mean, even if you have really good consistent players, I mean, the shit always happens. I mean, your player can get hurt, or there's some quarterbacks or certain teams that don't play well, let's say in the snow or in the rain, and that changes the outcome. So the year that I won, actually I got 3rd place, but I ended up winning, I think, $200. At that time I had Goff and he was doing well, but this one game where I was going to put him on my lineup, he was going to play against Chicago, but it was during the snow. And I remember somebody telling me, they're like, yeah, he's a California kid. He's not going to throw very well. He's not used to the snow. And I ended up putting, what's his name? Is it Taysom Hill?
Taysom Hill,
the quarterback. He was the quarterback for New Orleans for a little bit, right?
Yeah, because he's originally a tight end player.
Yeah. So I ended up putting him on, and he ended up doing well for me. And I remember Goff, he got like 9 points or something like that. So it moves like that where you have to look at all, not only you got to look at the team that they're going to play against. You got to look at the weather. You got to look, how many players are injured, because that's going to affect either the running game or the passing game.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not going to be correct every time, right? But the odds of being right would be more favorable because of the research that you put in.
Yeah.
Like if a team can't stop the runs, right? Most likely they're not able to. So you want to start that running back that you have that can run those those rushes.
Yeah.
And be able to get these yards and touchdowns, right? But sometimes it doesn't happen because sometimes the defensive linemen, they're able to stop the run somehow, some way. Maybe they get better, or it could be the weather too. Like how I see it when it rains, wide receiver has a hard time catching the ball. So,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. 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 So, I mean, I know firsthand because Green Bay Packers, they're really good at playing in the snow because that's their home.
Yeah.
So, but for people that are like sunny skies, like all the time, like the Rams or like,
Yeah.
the Houston Texans, yeah, they're gonna have a hard time playing in the snow. So I'm not gonna play those players.
Right.
Right. So yeah, exactly. But I'm gonna be honest with you. The Keepers League, I don't want to bash on the commissioner for that one, but I think it's really dumb that you're able to gamble for picks or give picks away or buy picks. You can actually buy picks, paying like somebody $10. Like, I'll buy your picks for $10, and the person can say yes. Yeah. So the thing is, the rule is, it's not collusion, and that's why it's okay. But the thing is, you're helping that person. I mean, you're helping each other, but you're screwing everyone else's. You know what I'm saying? So it's not against the rule because there's no rule saying that that's okay or not okay. There's no rule saying that that's not okay.
Right.
Yeah. Like I'm gonna share this with you because it actually got me kind of angry last year because I was one of the odds of me winning last year was actually pretty high for the Dynasty League. But this guy, he was probably the runner up. Either me or him, we're like this. Is either me win or he win, or we're the guys that people would have a good prediction who's going to win. So what this guy did was it was for Austin Eckler, right? This guy wanted to do this deal where so his team was already stacked. Like, this guy has Josh Allen, Joe Mixon, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, all the number one superstars you can think of, So what he did was he offered a trade to another guy. It was a first round pick for next year. I think it was a first round pick and $50. I don't know if there was anything else other than a third round pick too, I believe. So a first and third and a $50. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I remembered. And the guy accepted it. Like, he gets $50 to give Austin Eckler away to get the first round next year. His team wasn't that great either. I think that's why he did it, because it's kind of like rebuilding.
Yeah.
So he has this picks for next year and $50 because our league was only $50. It's not like a really expensive league or anything,
right,
but it's still money, right? What he did was valid. It was not against the rule. It's okay. But the thing about that is it now the guy that did that, his team's even more stronger. Remember, this is the guy that has Josh Allen, Joe Mixon and stuff.
Yeah.
Now he has Austin Eckler. Yeah, this guy is most likely going to win,
He's pretty much buying everything out to secure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's
that
the reason
I've never heard of anything like that, dude.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
crazy.
I mean, I wasn't angry at him for doing it. I mean, I was angry that it happened. The guy accepted it, and it was a fair trade. But I hate because of that rule. Like, it's okay, and now my team it's gonna be harder to win.
Would you say that was his best player?
Austin Eckler?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, he had a better player than Austin.
Wait, you're talking about the guy that traded Austin Eckler?
Yeah.
Away? Yeah, that was his best player.
Because our commissioner, he will lock our best player. He won't let us trade our. I believe that's what it is. So your number one player,
you can't trade your best
it.
player.
Yeah, you can't trade it. I believe that's what he does. He locks it.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing about this Keepers League that I'm in. There's a lot of things about the league I don't agree with. Especially that's an example right there.
Yeah.
But when I joined the league, I agreed and respect the league rules. So whatever comes with it, when I joined the league, I had to be okay with it, or else why would I join it, right?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say I am happy with these rules, but you know, if you look at the positive side, it does make things more interesting. My best friend, there was a year he's in our keepers league too. We were at Dave and Buster's and we were just playing all these games
Yeah.
and we were gambling our picks away. And he was just losing everything.
Oh,
Like we were
man.
playing the Connect Fours with the basketball.
Yeah.
And he just sucks at basketball, I guess, compared to someone else. And he was just taking all his picks, round 7, 8, 9, 10. And he ended up not having any picks at all.
I was about to ask, is there like a limit to where like you can't give away your picks anymore?
No. And I think
So,
that should be a thing.
I
but
mean, what
no.
would happen though if you lose all your picks? Like you just don't draft?
No, you draft. It's just you have to wait for all these guys
until
to have all
they're
these
done.
picks. Yeah, because when it gets to your name and they have your picks,
dude, you have no chance. There's no way.
I mean, anything can happen. You can still pick a Pickle Nakua, right? And get a miracle number 1 wide receiver. But
Dude,
the odds of winning,
you're
it's
not
so
gonna.
low.
You can't pick up a starting running back, a starting receiver.
It's like betting on Texas
it's
Houston
terrible.
to win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Actually, they're okay. Or the Bears.
I'm hearing about that. The quarterback, he's actually pretty good, but I haven't
Stroud,
seen-
right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I his first week was terrible, and then my good friend that's in the keepers league as well, he picked him up. He uses waiver wire. I was like, dude, why would you waste that? Like, I don't think anyone's gonna go pick him up, but that was pretty genius. For the past 3 weeks,
yeah.
he was getting 20 points over 21, 22, 23.
Yeah.
So I can say my friend does his research. He knows, so
I kind of felt like that about Jordan Love.
mm,
Picked him up, wasn't sure how he was gonna do, and he hasn't been too bad.
yeah.
Even in the last game, wasn't performing until I think the very end. To the very because I don't know he was I just was looking at the fantasy points. I wasn't even watching the game.
Yeah.
But then later on, I see like, oh shit, he's doing something, and then towards the end, I don't know if he got a touchdown or two, but he's always been. I mean, besides last week, he's been at over 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this last one it was almost 20. It was 19 points, but
Yeah.
I mean, this is what is first year as a starter or second year?
First year as a starter.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he's been with the team for 3 years.
and then also he's been working with Rodgers as well, and
Mm.
yeah,
So he learned. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't really believe in him. Because I see him in preseason. Like he was playing like a real second, third string quarterback.
okay,
So for us to know that this is our next guy to lead the pack, it's hard to swallow, And I watch a lot of podcasts about him, Lil Wayne.
Mhm.
Lil Wayne's a big Packers fan, and
okay,
for the longest time, and Lil Wayne said that he actually believed him from the start, and I was like, man, you're a dumbass, But this guy knows what he's talking about. This guy's Lil Wayne. He's actually very smart. He has a lot of football knowledge, especially with the Packers.
okay,
So it makes sense. I mean, this is the 4th week, and he's been doing so well. So honestly, when we picked up Jordan Love, when he was a rookie, I was actually very pissed. Because those.
I think Rodgers was pissed too, right?
I'm sure he was. I mean, he was like, "What the fuck? Are you trying to replace me?"
I think when they picked him up, he had a good season.
Mhm.
I think that's who.
A lot of people don't know this, especially my friends. When I was watching the draft, because the Packers had a really good draft pick, number 1 pick,
Yeah.
and I was hoping we go with a wide receiver, the Amon-Ra St. Brown thing I told you about.
Uh-huh.
Please pick him up. I was like, he is good. If anything, pick up a defense player, please. I'll be happy with those two.
Yeah.
And when the NFL permission came out, like on the 2020, NFL draft pick, they picked some guy from some college I never heard of, Jordan Love, quarterback. I was so pissed. I forgot what I threw. I think it was like one of those weight holder for your paper.
Yeah.
It was on my desk for some reason, and I freaking threw it on the wall, and it made a big dent.
Oh shit!
And then my mom, actually, because I was living with my mom at that time, she was like, "What is that?" And I was just angry. I was like, "What are you guys doing?"
Yeah.
Like, why? Are you throwing this on purpose? And then the second round, we picked A.J. Dillon. I didn't know much about A.J. Dillon. Did we pick a running back when we have Aaron Jones?
Yeah.
I was like, what are you guys
doing?
Are
they probably to trade or
what? Yeah, that year I was heated, man. But surprisingly, that was the year we did pretty well. Okay. Yeah, we were number 1 seed. But the thing is, it's not because of the Jordan Love pick or the A.J. Dillon.
Yeah.
It was just, we just had a really good team that year, and we did very well. We won the conference final, division final.
Yeah.
And then we were number 1 seed. And you know what team we lost to? It was so heartbroken, dude. We had a bye week, and then we played against the 49ers at home. It was snowing, I think, or raining, whatever it was. It was cold. And we lost to a field goal to the 49ers. I was watching with my good friend because he's a 49ers fan. He sees in my eyes, I was like, stunned and shocked.
Was this the game when both kickers kept missing?
No.
Okay.
You're talking about the Bengals.
Oh, that
the regular season. No.
Yeah, they kept on missing, dude. Yeah. Nobody was winning. It was like,
McPherson, who's gonna
make
the kicker from the Bengals?
Yeah.
He's really good. So I don't know why he's kept missing. And then we had Mason Crosby missing it too.
Dude, Crosby, I actually had him in the past. He was solid, dude.
Oh, he's solid.
Yeah.
I do miss him.
Yeah.
But we have a new guy now.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, it was 2020. It was a COVID not Super Bowl. It was the COVID NFL game. Maybe 2021 actually. I think it's 2021. 2020 to 2021. Yeah, we lost to the 49ers, which is like, I think they were like the worst team at that year. And we were the best. I mean, we're number 1 seed, in the NFC. So it was heartbreaking, losing that. And then the 49ers went against I think the Cowboys, and they beat them too. I was like, whoa. Dude, this was when they had Jimmy G.
Oh, man.
And they're George Kittle and Ayuk. Like, they didn't even have McCaffrey yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was so hard to accept. I mean, I do like the 49ers, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Anyone play against my team, you're my enemy.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, man. But Jordan Love, I'm impressed what he has done, and I pray nothing. I wish nothing for the best for him. I mean, I hope he stay healthy, be our leader, be our captain.
Yeah.
And he's a good guy. I mean, I do my research about him. I mean, he's a really cool kid. So, yeah.
So, what made you become a Packers fan?
I get this question a lot because I was like, "Are you from Wisconsin?" No. Well, so one day in high school, this is like 2007, 2006. So it was a really hot day, and it was so hot. I was going to the mall, and dude, it's so hot. Like, I need to wear a hat or something. So I went to a 7-Eleven near Westminster High School. That's where I went to high school. There's a 7-Eleven across the street. I went there, and they actually sell hats somewhere, like in the store. And there was a hat with the letter G on it. It's like, oh, this fits me perfectly. G for George. So I bought it. It was cheap at that time. It's like probably $10 or something. So I wore it, and then it became my favorite hat because it fits my head so well. And then, it's the only, I didn't have that much money. So that was the only hat I had. And then someone came up to me like, "Hey, are you a Packers fan?" I'm like, "What's a Packer?" It's like, that's an NFL team. Like, this is the hat you're wearing from that team. I'm like, "Oh, I don't know much about it. I didn't know anything. I just bought it because I needed a hat that day."
Yeah.
And then, so when I got kind of curious because they were talking about the Packers and how good they are. I looked them up. I was like, man, they are really good. This is when Brett Favre was explosive.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So I got really interested in football. It's funny because I was always been a chubby kid. I always liked to compete in sports. So I did wrestling and badminton in high school.
Okay.
And that's funny because badminton was spring, wrestling was winter, and football was in fall. But I didn't join the football team. And the reason why I didn't join, because first, I didn't know much about football. But two, it's like I didn't have the money because football in our school was actually the number one sport. And it cost a lot. My family wasn't like really well off either. So, I mean, even during lunchtime, I used the government money to pay for lunch.
Yeah.
So it was like free lunch every day. So, um, yeah. And that's pretty much how I became a fan. It's just because I followed. It's all started with a hat, and then ever since then, and football's always on TV.
Yeah.
So I think one day the Packers were playing against the Raiders. I think the Raiders was part of the LA team at the time. So I watched it, and man, the Packers destroy the Raiders.
Yeah.
And ever since that, they just became my team. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't like really into football still in high school, but I got more into it as years goes on. And then Aaron Rodgers became the number one quarterback when Favre went to Minnesota. Then he went to the Jets, which is funny because Rodgers is there right now.
Yeah.
and Favre retired as a Jet. So Rodgers, I don't know, he might retire there too with his injury.
I wasn't into football when he was playing, but was he even good in the Jets? Or yeah, it was the
No, he got hurt too. Yeah, I mean, during that time, I stopped following a little bit. When Favre left to Minnesota, I slowly kind of don't follow as much. But when Aaron Rodgers became the number one and he got really good too, I started following again.
Yeah.
And that's the year, like a year or two later, he won us a Super Bowl, 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's when I had my family photo shop. So I saw that game at the photo shop, like all the division games, the playoff games. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I got really into football.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I never played football. Didn't know much until, like I said, it started with a hat, with the letter G on it.
It was meant to be.
Yeah. And I as a diehard fan now, I wish one day I can go to the Lambeau Field. Me and my friend were planning to go like a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But we looked at the price and the road that we had to drive. We were planning, but he's a Rams fan. So the Rams usually play the Packers, usually at the Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
So that was the year that they were planning to play. And we look at the weather condition, man, it was like a blizzard. And me and my friend were like, yeah, we're not going to go. We don't want to risk our lives just because to be at the Lambeau Field,
Yeah.
So we're like, yeah, maybe we'll go one day when it's nice, sunny, and, dry. So,
Right.
but hopefully one day.
Okay.
Hopefully one day.
I remember you when you came here earlier. You were telling me that you're also in the Dynasty League.
Yeah. Keepers League. It's
Keepers League.
Yeah, I mean it's the same. The reason why I don't. So here's the thing. Dynasty, from what I know, you're supposed to keep your whole entire roster that you had towards the end of the season.
Yeah,
and you move it to the next season. From what I know, where Keepers League, I just call it Keeper because we do keep players. But how the league that I'm in, what we do is we just keep the top 5 that we want. So we keep our 5 players, and then we draft after that. So keep your 5, and then you draft on 6. So starting 6th, then 7, 8, all the way to we have 16. We can draft up to 16. So I think our bench is about. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think we have about 7 or 8 players in our bench.
Okay.
I don't remember, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I'm in 5 leagues, so every league is different. Like one of my leagues that I joined this year, we only have 4 benches. That is very low.
Yeah.
4 benches, and I think they allow 2 IRs. So I mean, luckily I don't have any players that are injured, but I can't really use the IR to save those players. So it's that league. It's actually very competitive because you think having less bench is not as competitive, but
Yeah.
it actually is because you're adding and dropping every week.
Yeah.
You, like for example, like this week the Dallas is playing the 49ers.
Yeah.
I would not start Dallas against the 49ers. I would have picked up another defense team to play against whoever that's not as good.
Yeah.
So I would have like just benched the Dallas team and play that team. But I can't even do that just because I only have 4 bench and I can only save so much, right? So
Unless you make a sacrifice,
yeah, and I that's it's tough, man, because you remember you have bye weeks now starting. I think this is the first week that we're doing the buys, right? So yeah, can you imagine you have like 3 or 4 guys on the same week of buys, and then you'll have 4 bench players that you have to put in.
Dude, I've taken losses like that.
Yeah, and
in the past,
you don't have enough like enough running backs or wide receiver to put in those slots. So yeah, that's crazy, man. This is the first time I play in that league. So
yeah,
I guess we'll see how it goes. Yeah,
yeah.
Dude, I have the Mahomes and Kelsey that league. I have the Mahomes and Kelsey combo.
Yeah,
I did that on purpose. But can you imagine once that week starts with the bye? I don't know who to put in. I don't know who to drop. It's gonna be crazy, but we'll see. I think that's what makes it fun, right? To challenge yourself and see what you can do to make it work and win the week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the past, for me, it was, I think I had like 3, maybe 4 players from the Rams. I had the defense. I had Cooper Kupp. I think I had the quarterback and maybe Tyler Higbee, the tight end. So yeah, like when it would come to bye week, it was either you're gonna sacrifice players or take the loss. And
yeah.
I think there was one time where I was doing pretty well, so I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to lose. I'm gonna lose eventually, so I'll take this loss. And hopefully, there isn't many to come.
I'm very stubborn. Every week I want to win. Sacrificing.
Isn't it disappointing though?
Very.
I feel you have no chance though, right?
It's like
you're
my pride just I can't accept that. It's weird. And that's why I love fantasy. It's just like, it's just fun. You just want to win. You just want to, win right too. So
I was gonna ask you, have you ever won any of your leagues?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, there's a league that I'm commissioner on.
Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, I wasn't the commissioner at that league in the beginning. There was something that happened where the old commissioner had to leave. I want to spare you the details, but basically he kind of cheated as a commissioner.
Okay.
And I guess in fairness, we asked if he can step down as commissioner and also to leave the league. The next person that took charge was me, just because I had a vision how I want this league to be. So this league was more like family friend type of vibe. So like my nephews are in it. And then we had the other side where my good friend, wife, his stepdad's in it, and so we call it the family friendly. There was another name for it in the beginning because I'm in this group of friends and we have a name for ourselves. It's just a name that you ever seen Terminator?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm a big Terminator fan. I love movies. That's something I enjoy when I just want to get away, like go into the theaters and stuff like that.
Right.
So, I played all the games. So I played Counter-Strike. I played Fortnite. That's the games I play right now. It's usually, shooting games. Back in 2009, 10, I was really into Left 4 Dead. You remember that game that was out back then? It was a zombie game.
Yeah, it sounds very familiar, but I don't think I've ever.
You don't think so?
It.
I'm just thinking like there's another game that's kind of like that. Bad Blood's a new one, but I don't think you know that one. But it's a zombie game.
Okay.
So you're shooting zombies and you're shooting like special zombies,
Yeah.
So I was in a clan, I guess, but the clan is the friends that I know that I grew up with. We just call ourselves the Resistance.
Because
I'm a Terminator fan, and I keep doing that voice like Christian Bale when he was John Connor, like we are the resistance. Like I keep doing that, like it became a thing, and then we just became the resistance in the game, and then and then there at time we were our friendship grew from just the gamers, but also people that are around the gamers. Like we had friends that are part of our group that we hang out a lot, go to Denny's late at night. Being early 20s, going
Yeah.
Denny's, getting steaks, 3 in the morning, talking till like 6 in the morning. And it, that group became not just a gaming clan, but it became an actual group. So we call ourselves the Resistance. And um slowly when we meet more friends through friends and then they became more committed to be part of our group, they're part of the Resistance. So the thing about me is I'm like I like to be a part of a group. Don't know what it is. I'm always been a team player.
Yeah.
So I just made it a thing where it's kind of like almost like a corporation. Like we have a name, the Resistance. I even had like t-shirt design, sweatshirt design that I just gave as a gift for friends, like, and then it says the Resistance, established in 2009 or something. It's
Yeah.
it's hilarious. I don't know. And it just
Yeah.
became a thing. And then we have our annual events where we have Christmas every year. So if you're in the Resistance, you're invited. And then we just do like a little white elephant exchange or Secret Santa exchange. Um, and it became like a network almost. Like people just know each other through that group and then somehow connected through different hobbies, like a friend from this person and a friend from this they met and they were able to connect through professional ways. Like, hey, are you looking for a job? My company's hiring. Maybe I can give you a good word. And then they work for us. Actually, one of the guy works at Cosmo. He was part of the Resistance.
Okay.
Yeah, his name is Hip. Shout out to Hip. Um, yeah, he needed a job. I think he just came out to the military. He's a army, and I guess he was just looking for work. And then I think me or another friend that was part of the Resistance, kind of like show him the ropes how to join the company. Yeah, so he's part of the customer service behavioral health. I think right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw him today. I haven't seen him in a while, but yeah, I just found out he's engaged. So congratulations, Hip. Um, but yeah, like that group just became a network slash pretty much like a family.
Yeah.
So we had our 10-year anniversary back in 2019.
Okay.
So we went to like Palm Desert, which is like near Palm Spring,
Uh-huh.
and we just had a weekend together, do Christmas, swimming, and we even did some wrestling. it just became like kind of like a club,
Yeah.
and so the reason I brought this up is because the fantasy league that I am now the commissioner, it was called the Resistance League because most of the people in that league was part of that group.
Yeah.
But eventually it evolved into, because people come, leave and come. So I was able to recruit my nephews because, they're older now. They can, and they like football. So they joined the league. And then my good friend wanted to invite his wife. She got into football too, and his stepdad, and you know, um, so I changed the name Resistance League to Family Friend League. So that league's been around for 5 years.
Okay.
I have won that league. It was the year that you know, he's still my friend because I'm just a very forgiving guy, but of course it takes time to heal because I was really upset what he did. But the thing is, the demons, devils have ways to take over, you know, temptations, and I think it was just my friend. He was just very like he just likes to win. I don't think it's the money.
Yeah.
I mean, money is a plus, right? But it's really the bragging rights, the feeling to win.
Yeah.
I think that was his addiction
Okay.
and his problem. But of course, when we found out he cheated, everyone was like, "You're literally stealing from your friends,
Yeah.
your family."
Yeah.
And-
Take a quick break.
Yeah. Okay. Noisily. All right, no worries, bro. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, yeah, you're literally like, you know, doesn't matter what you're gonna say. You cheated, and you did it in front of people that are very close to you. We're close friends. I know this guy since middle school.
Yeah.
I know he has this reputation of like, you know, being a little shady,
Okay.
But the thing about him is he has a good heart. He's actually a really good person.
Yeah.
It's just, everyone has baggage and demons that they're trying to deal with. I think that's one of the things that he had a problem. And ever since he cheated, we booted him out. It affected actually around the people around him because they heard what he did. So he was actually part of the Keepers League too.
Oh, I see.
And the commissioner decided to kick him out as well. He has nothing to do with that league, the commissioner.
Yeah.
But the fact that because this is the character that is in our league, it affects people that are in that league, Because some of the people in the family and friend league, they're also in the Keepers League as well. Just like 3 or 4 of us.
Okay.
But it still affect, it's just the awkwardness,
Right.
So the commissioner, because when the commissioner started the Keepers League, he wanted to make this league. It wasn't just about football. It's about friendship. It's about the friendship that we can move on and move forward. We can move on and we can move forward. And that's the reason why. And if this situation is going to affect this league now, it's the right thing to do is to boot him out as well.
Yeah.
So that's for fantasy, but he lost a lot of friends too because some people, they knew that he's like that, but what he did was like, I don't want this guy in our lives. We're in our 30s now, so cutting ties, like simply just like that, is a lot easier, especially when you have like a wife and kids. Your family's first, right?
Right.
So one of my friends, we known him for the longest time. He's my best friend. He lives in New Mexico. He was in the military. Long story, he got married. He lives in now. And this guy that cheated, we were all very close friends. He was one of the resistance that played Left 4 Dead,
Yeah.
There's only 4 guys that you can play Left 4 Dead. That's why it's called Left 4 Dead. Yeah. So my friend literally say, fuck you, get off of my fucking life, cut ties straight up, just like that.
Wow.
And this is the guy we all grew up with,
Yeah.
See, my friend's heart is a little different because I'm talking about the guy that's living in New Mexico now.
Mm-hmm.
I think the military has changed him to be a lot more like straightforward, But
Right.
I think it's because he has a family now. And for him to do that, remember, his wife is in the league. So he kind of cheated, not just him, but his wife too, So that's why he's more of like, I don't want to talk to this guy ever again. Get out, be part of this, For me, I don't have a wife and kids. I don't really have the same feelings or anything towards that.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm more forgiving too. I grew up in a Catholic family, and the one thing that God has always taught us is to forgive. Forgiveness is something that it's the most righteous thing to do. It's actually a more beneficial for the person that forgives than to be forgiven, because it's much more better in the longer run, right?
Yeah.
You live a much more clear life, and I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really think of what anyone would do to me to not forget somebody. I mean, it's about time, right? I didn't forget my friend until maybe a year later. But of course, there's a lot of things he has to do to earn my trust back, right?
Right.
Because what he did was just totally messed up,
Yeah. I mean, the relationship is obviously not going to be the same.
Yeah.
And sometimes it, you have to build.
It takes a while.
You have to build back towards that trust.
Yeah, for me, I wasn't sure when I was willing to forgive him. I just leave the door open and sneak in and see if he has changed or anything, because he really did hit rock bottom.
Wow.
He lost a lot of friends, and a lot of friends that don't really give him the same respect anymore. Because
Yeah.
everyone's different. There's a lot of friends like me that forgive him completely,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a lot that has not. Especially my friend from New Mexico, he has not forgiven him. He's like, I don't want anything to do with him,
Yeah.
and I respect that. I totally understand.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy that did cheat the league, he has changed a lot, and I'm pretty proud of him because he's trying to be better.
Yeah.
I think that rock bottom really taught him a lot, a big lesson. And people always say, I talk to people that don't really have trust, like they have trust issues.
Yeah.
Always tell me like, watch, it's gonna happen again. It's gonna happen again. But you know what? Just do what your heart says. And to me, I think, people. I do believe people can change. Maybe not completely,
Mm-hmm.
but somewhat in a degree.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we're fine. I mean, we talk about football. He loves fantasy. He's in like surprisingly over 20 leagues.
Over 20.
Yeah.
Leagues? That's crazy.
I know, but that's his hobby.
How can Wow. That's you have to be. Really
Yeah, he was showing me his
dedicated to
leagues.
that.
Yeah, most of them were sleepers. So because he joined leagues where he doesn't know the league, like anyone in the league, he just joins. Because there's leagues out there that you can do that. You pay and then you just play. And if you win, you win the cash, Yeah, he just likes fantasy,
Yeah.
I mean, he likes it so much that he's willing to do anything to win, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, we're good. But yeah, I'm in charge of that league, and I won in 2021. My first round pick was Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Yeah. Derrick Henry's he's still good. He's getting older, but he's still pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, what I saw last week, I mean, it looks like, he's still good.
Yeah. I had Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, I believe.
Okay.
That was the year that I won. Forget who else I had, but yeah, I won once. But that's the only victory. The closest one I got was second place. It was my church league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got second place. And that was the first time I ever played fantasy, by the way.
Okay.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I never played fantasy. I got second place. I was pretty proud of myself. Yeah, not knowing exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I was biased. I was picking Aaron Rodgers. I was picking like all the Packers guys. Like, what are you doing? But somehow I ended up with second place. Dude, I was like last seed. I was like, so only 6 players can make it to the playoffs.
Yeah,
I think it's 6 or 8.
6 players.
Yeah, out of 12.
Well, I think it varies.
Depends on the league.
You can change it.
Yeah, but I was literally the last, like, to make it to the playoffs. I beat the number 1 guy because that week I think they rested all the good players.
Yeah,
because it was no injury. Like, he had Todd Gurley, I believe, when Todd Gurley was like really good.
Yeah,
I think the Rams like benched Todd Gurley just to save his like energy and be healthy, and that screwed him over because I didn't have a really strong team. I think I had a pretty good team, but not. That guy had a lot of good players, but they rested these players for the playoffs. And that's the one thing about when you get near when the fantasy playoffs is like the NFL would rest players just because they want to preserve them for the playoffs. So like, let's say right now the 49ers are 4-0 right now. I wouldn't be surprised if let's say they're going to make it to the playoffs. They would probably rest McCaffrey for like 1 or 2 weeks. That happens. And that would screw someone over in fantasy.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you gotta pay attention to your players.
Yeah.
And I've actually have come across something like that too, where you have to. This player is not going to be utilized as much anymore because they're pretty much going to make it to the playoffs. They don't have to. Like for example, they don't like they. Basically, they're guaranteed, into the playoffs, and they're able to afford to.
They would rest them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That way, they don't have to risk the players getting hurt or anything like that.
Yeah, like remember that game, the Dolphins versus the Broncos when they were leading like 50 points, 60 points, whatever.
Yeah.
They rested Tua, Yeah.
Like,
why risk him getting sacked and getting hurt?
Right.
Getting another concussion?
Yeah.
That could happen.
And that game was ridiculous, man. I mean, you even see the backup, quarterback doing getting a touchdown or two. Um, but yeah, crazy.
Yeah. This is my first podcast
Yeah.
ever. I hope I did well. I mean, everything I say, I speak from the heart, and that's all it is. Nothing's scripted.
Right, right.
You know, I always think like these guys on podcasts, they talk so smooth and flowy, like it's like scripted almost. But you know, I think it's just like this. So
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it is just like anything else. Everything, just needs practice and
mhm.
eventually start, you know, perfecting your craft and getting better at it.
Yeah, for
So,
sure, man. And
yeah.
congratulations on this because this is really cool. I think I told you off the air, but um, this is actually a cool thing to do. You know, I'm all about relationships and cherished memories,
Yeah.
and this is something that we you can look back and like, dude, we used to do this. We used to talk like this. You know,
Right. Yeah.
like 10 years later, like remember we did this, talk about fantasy. Like who
Yeah.
knows what the NFL is gonna look like in 10 years, but and be like, I appreciate this. So
Yeah. I mean, the way I see it, I mean, I've been doing this since I was in a band. I always, recorded myself, performing and all that. And the way I saw it is like you're just kind of recording history right there. And to have the opportunity to go back and get to view, see yourself in the past is, I think it's awesome, and like when I was younger, I really didn't like taking pictures, and now I actually try to do it more than ever. It's just because life is so short and
mhm.
you gotta enjoy every moment.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But George, it's been a pleasure.
Hey man.
And
Thank you for having me.
hopefully, yeah, get to see you again and do another episode.
Yeah. Sounds good, bro.
All right.